Every year, millions of tons of electronic waste generated globally, like laptops, mobile phone, home appliances, formally or in a technical manner is being recycled. The rest ends up in polluting the land, air, and our water ecosystems. So why e-waste recycling matters the most today? Recycling e-waste is not just good environmental practices, it is critical for preserving our only planet's natural resources, reducing the pollution, air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution, recovering the valuable resources like precious metal, platinum group metals, base metals like copper, zinc, aluminum, nickel, and ferrous metals like iron and steel, and good plastics like PP, ABS plastics, LDPE, HDPE, and so on. And next is cutting down greenhouse gases. The greenhouse gas is the main problem for the global warming, which we are witnessing globally, the global warming issues. So CO2 is the main cause for the greenhouse gases. We have to cut down the CO2 emissions to be part of the carbon footprint. And data is something very important which we all need to aware of that. We use millions of data production inside our mobile phones, laptop, and all kind of like a bank information, personal health informations, or passwords and so on. So this data has to be protected before we discard the electronic product. Then finally, we need to promote the circular economy. Basically, the circularity of these materials, instead of going for the landfill or disposing it, we need to extract these metals and plastics and put back to making the new products, new mobile phone, new laptop, new refrigerators, and so on, which will prevent digging or going for mining again to take back all the natural resources. So the treasure which are hidden in the electronic waste are basically precious metals like gold, silver, platinum, palladium, and strategic metals, rare earth elements, base metals like copper, zinc, aluminum, nickel, and so on, chromium, and certain rare earth metals like neodymium, and like EV batteries materials like lithium, cobalt, manganese, and so on. So even plastics also, it's a useful plastics also there, like recyclable plastics like PP, LDPE, ABS plastic, HDPE, and so on. It can be recycled, pelletized, and we can use back. Generally, in most of the developing countries, most of the plastics which we use, like consumers' plastic waste, mostly is a recycled plastics. Unfortunately, those recycling are done in very primitive or traditional way. I think there's a technically sound and environmental friendly way of recycling the plastics, which we need to practice to prevent such pollutions to the human beings as well as to the environment. So rare earth metals, for example, nowadays we are looking a lot on the EV batteries and a lot on the high-tech electronic gadgets containing the certain rare earth metals, which need to be recycled and put back to supply chain. So the recycling is no more is a traditional way or primitive way. It has to be a technological solutions, or a right recycling solution is the answer for today's electronic waste recycling. So advancements in recycling technologies are making the impossible to the possible. I mean, in my experience, we are able to recycle most of the metals up to the purity of 98 to 99%. For example, the gold. The gold, once we recover from the electronic waste, we can make the gold into pure, like a 99.99%. Likewise, silver, likewise, palladium, likewise, certain other metals, like even copper, for example. It can be refined into 99.98%, which is equal to LME grade copper. So recycling is not the recovered metals or refined metals are impure as compared to the primary. Just give an example, like when we go for primary mining of gold, the gold ores may contain only 6 to 10 grams or 15 grams of gold per 1 ton of ore. Whereas in case of electronic scraps, everything in the electronic products are valuables like a plastics, like a base metals like copper, aluminum, zinc, or ferrous metals like iron and steel, precious metal like gold, silver, palladium. So all these metals can be recovered in technically, environmentally sound way, and it can be refined into to the core pure form. Once you refine the pure form, the chemical and metallurgical properties are as equivalent as the mining of the respective metals. So the technology mostly involved now is hydrometallurgy and pyrometallurgy. There are, of course, there are other technologies like they use the bacteria and some advanced technologies are there. But I think the most important is commercially viable technologies, mostly smelting, pyrometallurgy and hydrometallurgy. So sustainability is a small business model. If any recycling, it has to be sustainable financially, it has to be sustainable, and also the value what we generate, it has to be in line with the origin materials. So along with that, recycling gives a lot of other benefits, environmental benefits like a carbon footprint and prevention of the mining and upgrading of the health and safety and extending of the planet lifespan and so on. So sustainability is a smart business, so that modern e-waste recycling is commercially viable, scalable, and an opportunity to monetize discarded assets, comply with regulations like national regulations, international regulations, and global best practices by certifications like ISO certifications, like ISO 9001, talking about proper documentation, traceability, accountability, and ISO or EMS 14001, which is basically about environmental management system, and as well as OSHA's 45001 talks about occupational health and safety management system. So we need to build a brand by having a right technology, right experience to recycle, recover, and refine and put back to supply chain. So by end of the day, we need to report back to the only planet, so that this planet will be available for our next generation. So we need to take a collective responsibility. Like for industries, design for recyclability, which is something widely spoken now. We need to design the product so that minimize the toxic substances inside and also maximize the recyclable friendly way of designs, so that all the recyclers can able to remove the batteries from the mobile phone, for example, and likewise any other electronic waste. It has to be easy for recycling. And we need to implement the EPR stringently, like extended producer responsibility. Means once these manufacturers release the product, we need to find a right way to collect back and put back to the recycling, like blockchain technology or using the AI traceability and accountability, so that we will ensure the products released to the market will come back at the end of their shelf life to the recycling. So for institutions, naturally it helps a lot to educate the students and the staff about e-waste and a drive for the collection programs. So in entire life cycle journey of e-waste, the collection, most important is awareness. People should know why need the recycling. What happens if we don't recycle? What are the key benefits by doing the recycling? So today, if you look at the penetration of electronic products, it's humongous rate. Like everyone have the mobile phones. More or less every lifestyle today or every living needs some or other electronic products, be it a house or cars or aeroplanes or office. Mostly our entire ecosystem is based on the electrical equipment. So likewise the consumers, they should not just discard unethically to the informal sectors. they have to donate it, or they can do the trading in, and or they need to find the right recycling company to give their end of life products to recycle it. So the future is circular, like urban mining. Everything can be recyclable using the right technology, right experience, and right compliances globally. So if everything can be recyclable and every substances can be recovered and refined, why we need to go for mining or digging the earth to extract more and more metals and more other resources to make the new laptops or new mobile phones or new TVs or refrigerators or ACs or servers and so on. So with the right policies, right technology and awareness, EVs can be a source of value instead of a burden. Let's protect our planet while powering the next generation of technology. Let's think waste, recycle smart, and recover more. We have only one planet. I think it's all our responsibility to put our hands together collectively to collect back all the end-of-life electronics, recycle it in a right, environment-friendly, cost-effective way, and put back the metals into the supply chain so we can make the materials circular and we can make our economy circular. So that's what the leadership in the drive towards sustainability among the value chain or among the value proposition. Thank you.